Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very interesting video for you. So this month I put a poll up to my patrons over on Patreon and they voted for me to attempt to live like my character. Now I have a lot of stories I'm in the middle of working on, but I thought it would be a lot more fun to try and live like a character from one of my fantasy worlds. So I picked Miss Analisa Renaud from the Meridian Maps series. For those of you who might not know, Analisa is a pirate. The Meridian Maps is planned to be a 5-book series, kind of a coming of age-esque, finding her true family-esque, and as always we're on the hunt for these Meridian Maps and what they might lead to at the end of it. If you actually want to know more about Analisa, my good friend Phoebe did this incredible thing where she drew the character and I answered questions about her, so I will link that up above and down below. I still cannot believe how wonderful it turned out. It still makes me so happy. Almost teared up again, jeez. Okay, it's fine. Here's the thing about my life versus Analisa, a pirate's life, is that there's nothing is the same. Well, there's a few things that are the same, and I'm gonna take some liberties in how we're gonna do this, but I found about 6 different things I am going to attempt to recreate or do as Analisa today rather than myself. So besides just generally trying to survive and outrun the people who have a price on her head, Analisa is also in the constant hunt for these Meridian Maps, right? And one of the ways that she finds them is by reading a lot of old historical texts about some forgotten kingdoms and queendoms. So I think the best thing I could do is also read. I could read. I read. I'm a reader. The second thing I'm going to attempt to do is get better at map making or drawing. This is something that Analisa, obviously on the hunt for these maps, would find interesting, but also as she's growing into her own pirate being, you know, she's got to get better at it. So I should get better at it too. By the way, according to the legend, there are 16 different pieces of the Meridian Maps, which means that me as the writer and creator is going to have to come up with 16 different versions to put all together. Oh, God. The third thing I'm gonna do is some sort of training montage because Analisa is often on the brink of law and kind of sort of running away when she steals things, which we're gonna get to here in a second. And she is quite small. She's having to learn how to use all of her skills to the best of her ability. She's someone who thinks smarter in order to outwit people who are bigger or stronger than her. But over the course of the novel, she realizes the importance of sort of training. So that's what I'm going to be attempting to do today as I see where I'm at on this whole pull-up thing. Now let's go ahead and get to the stealing, because would it be a good pirate story if there was not a shit ton of stealing? I don't think so. The fun part about pirates is that they're in this really weird gray area of the law and stealing for the good of some things and occasionally just stealing for themselves. A lot of these maps are things that must be stolen. I am a law-abiding citizen of my country, but we're gonna be a little bit flexible on this stealing things. Yeah. Next up, what kind of pirate would I be if I don't see some water? Right? I need to go where the water is. I need to be where the water is. Wow. Okay. And then finally, I plan to end the night with some Cavanaugh. Now, one of the things that's most important about Analisa is where she is from, Monsoria, and her connections to her family there. Monsoria is in this weird place in the middle of the ocean. It's one of the center isles, and it is famous for its Cavanaugh, which is like a coffee alcohol sort of mixture that only grows on Monsoria. So it's in the middle of these kind of warring nations places, and it has something that one or both or all could potentially want. So that's where we're at. I'm gonna make my own version of Cavanaugh today. Because it's made up, I can't actually make it, but I'm gonna do my best. But all right, it is time to get to living like my character, Analisa Renaud. Let's go. So we're gonna start the morning out with stealing, in quotes. Obviously, this is not a ship, right? But we're gonna get to the ship part at the end of this video. I have an idea. For the stealing itself, because I can't actually steal, I have a few ways that I can maximize some freebies that maybe technically aren't actually free because in some ways I paid for them, but it's fine. We're gonna steal the freebies. On the road we go.
Welcome to Starbucks. What can I get for you this morning?
Hi, can I pick up a mobile order and can I also get a venti cup of water?
Yeah, and a venti cup of water, and we'll see you up here at the window.
Thank you.
I actually already ate most of this. I love their pumpkin loaf and the fact that it's free, in quotes, that I stole it. Okay, this is a stretch, but just work with me here because the one later is gonna be even dumber. Now that I have finished the last of my coffee, it is time for our training montage-esque thing. Because of course, when you're on a ship and you're having to like help man a ship, woman a ship? How did we come up with this? Anyways, you're having to do a whole lot of upper body stuff, climbing, lifting yourself up to the crow's nest, dealing with the sails, and then also as they're sneaking into places that they're not allowed, sometimes they use costumes or whatever else as I'm talking in front of my closet, costumes, but also sometimes they're having to physically sneak into places, pull themselves up balconies, all sorts of things. So Analisa is working a lot on her upper body strength as well as just general self-defense. It is time for me to attempt to do the same. Now, of course, it wouldn't be a proper training montage if I didn't use the Rocky theme, though I'm worried it could get me copyrighted, so I'm gonna do it myself. Bump, 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 bump. Bump, 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 bump. And now I figured I'd do my reading, my nonfiction reading. This actually is a history of the world in 6 classes, so there is some historical context. And it's actually been really fun to learn more about history through a different kind of gaze. The thing I love most about nonfiction is that I always pick up something from my stories, so here's to hoping something will happen that will prompt me to come up with another storyline for the Meridian Map series. Okay, let's get to reading. All vines lead to Rome. We're off to a good start. So I'm reading this story because this book is just basically full of stories where this guy, Marcus Antonius, was trying to hide out in someone of lower status's house, and the person sent out there, because it was Rome, they sent out their slave to pick up some wine from this market. But because he'd been requesting a like fancier wine, because of course this Marcus Antonius guy could not drink lower status wine or something, basically that was the clue that gave it away that this dude was at this house. That's one of those things where I'm just like, ooh, I could totally include that in some story at some point, because I just think it's interesting that things that people can clue in on and be like, aha, something is afoot. And because pirates, everything is sort of dependent on some form of trickery. This is just like a fun nugget I think I'm gonna keep around. The other thing this is making me want to do is because we've gone over like Greece and Italy and where else were we talking about? Different parts of Africa and the Mediterranean, I'm just like, I want to draw me a map. So I think that's what we're gonna do. I think I'm just going to try and get down the concept of the 16 maps, sort of creating one map. And then this is why I got multiple sheets of paper. Because I'm planning on self-publishing these, the interesting thing that I'm trying to figure out how to do is that obviously the Meridian maps are these kind of ancient maps, but then the captain has copies that he writes over and kind of draws to make the modern day version of them, because obviously certain things have changed, like though the land masses might not have changed, the borders have, kind of thing. So as Analisa discovers them, they're marked with like 15 of 16, 16 of 16, 2 of 16, etc. So you're finding these and you know that you have however many that you need to still gather. And then I know that certain countries' land masses sort of take up the bulk of some of these maps. And I know like Mansoria is kind of like stretches over in between here. I know certain dangerous areas of the ocean are marked. And then there's a whole lot of stuff right around here. Okay, because obviously I want to include the maps in the book, I'm trying to figure out, the captain starts with some maps before Analisa gets there, and one of the things that I'm having to do is figure out how many maps need to be found per book. So what I'm thinking is, if I were to publish the first book, do I start with a map that's kind of like we're only seeing chunks almost? Or do I start with one map of the area, maybe even like Monsoria or something, and then obviously put like 10 of 16 and have it look like a meridian map? And then as we discover more of the maps, I could even include them randomly later, like as a kind of division point within, like once a chapter is over and we found a map, I can include a copy of the map. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why I put it on my head. Okay, let's bring you back down here. All right, here's what I'm thinking. An example would be, except that I didn't do it to scale very well, having the meridian maps written, showing a clear 11 of 16 and the kind of compass that's usual of maps. And then I put in different colors what is actually there, and then like the captain's notes. You know, to this side there's some dangerous whatever, and like over on this side we did a job for them once, make sure to fly these kind of sails, or just like little joking comments so I can both set the tone and give a little bit more information while only displaying one of the maps. I think that might work. This still means that I need to develop all of the maps, of course, because I want to be able to have them done by one person or by myself using the same kind of style across all of the books. But also that's why I'm trying to sort of zero draft my way through all of the series so that I can kind of nail all of this stuff down ahead of time. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good. I think it's time to put on some jeans and go on a little bit of a trip. Let's go. Well, it has turned into a sort of wet, dreary day. Well, we're gonna go see some water, and I'm going to steal something else from the library. The greatest free resource around. Steal. It's not stealing. Let's go! I'm about to feel like a tour guide, but if you look to the left, which you can't see because of where I placed the camera, but that would be the river. I just gotta figure out a way to backtrack myself. Okay, we're gonna turn right and then turn back into it. I have a plan, and it should work. Maybe. Public parking. No, but I wanna park on the river! No one's coming! It's a beautiful turn. We're all very proud of me. Okay, yay! Now let's get back to the river, which if you look straight ahead, which is also going to be hard because I have now angled the camera with my turn, you will be able to see the river. Nailed it. I am the only one here. Usually this is real crowded, but I am the only one here. Someone's using the leaf blower, but it's gonna be fine. I think Analisa would swim depending on what was inside the river, potentially hiding in its depths, but I'm not gonna. So one of the most fun parts for me is just coming up with all of these different worlds that exist, but that we're predominantly seeing by water, and because I love the water so much. What's this guy doing? These ones are scary. Usually there would be people out here fishing or feeding the ducks, even though you're not supposed to. Although I don't know if you can see how pink my fingers are getting, or the tip of my nose, but it's real cold. So this might be it. This might be our river. At least until we get to the ship at the end of the video. Oh no, they're coming towards me. Woo! Oh, I don't know if y'all can see all the droplets on my phone. They're real little. There's also droplets on the camera, so I should fix that. Let's go steal a free book. Okay, we are making a slight adjustment to the schedule. Instead of going straight to the library, I'm gonna go to one of my favorite places, Mary's Tacos. Now we're gonna pretend that this is totally a stop along the way like Analisa would live. I mean, she does occasionally actually buy food at all of the local places that she stops, and as a writer, it's really fun to kind of imagine these different foods, kind of like Cavanaugh that made Monsoria famous, all these different places. I am just coming up with a reason because I really want to Mary's Tacos. Okay. And here we go. And I spy with my little eye the library. I'm now realizing I should have parked closer if it was going to be raining so much. It might start pouring down on me later. All right, the books are gonna go into the bag and so are you. I did pick up one other nonfiction book, Pirate Hunter's Treasure Obsession and the Search for a Legendary Pirate Ship. I really like the inside of this, so I thought it would be just fun to look at for inspiration. But also this talks about like a legendary pirate. His exploits were more notorious than Blackbeard's, more daring than Kidd's, but his story and his ship have been lost to time. I just think it's so cool to ask yourself why that is, and I'm excited to figure it out through this book. And I think, you know, learning more about real pirates can only be helpful. Right? And now all that's left for me today is to finish off with some Cavanaugh, or Irish coffee in this case. Let's ask Madra if she wants some. Here you go.
Oh, looky there, isn't that pretty?
Yum. Maybe not as good as Cavanaugh would be, but it is good. Mmm.
Excellent.
And now the only thing that's left is for me to get on a ship. I took a plane, a pseudo train, and an automobile to get to here, Disney World, so that I could ride a ship. I mean, this was already in the plans, but you know, there is a ship here, and I thought I would be remiss not to ride it. But before that, I decided it was time to do some other pirate-esque sort of things. Sword fights, finding some hidden treasure, taking in the rum and pretending it's Cavanaugh, getting my own little captain hat, and many, many more. But finally, it was time for me to get on the ship.
Parking is 100 voids down the river.
First year back, 2 years back, it was no more than boom down carved out of the wilderness by a handful of
Don't quite know what to make of our steamboat. They call it the time we passed this way, they thought it was the... And those who fall in battle are placed atop the traditional bed of death.
the trees on the island. That's Fort Langmore. Most of these old forts started out as trading posts. Then as settlers started... We're approaching Liberty Square.
Day for boat ride! Woo! Ship. Well, pretend ship. Mine's a ship. Hi, Dad. But alright, that's gonna be it for me. Please do comment down below. Let me know if you ever attempt to live like one of your characters for a day, for a week. Let me know if it's actually even possible. I obviously had to fudge a lot of this video in my attempt to live like Analisa, but how much do you think you could reasonably do? And let me know how many similarities you have between your main characters. Do you tend to write about people similar to you or that share some of your similar experiences? Or are you kind of using your writing as a way to explore different things or some kind of combination of those two? Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you again to my patrons for voting on this video. I had so much fun. And thank you especially to some of my new patrons this month. Timo Blackwater, Bandy Crawford, Elegant Mechanic, Celeste R, Izzy, and Anastasia Vol. And I will see y'all all very soon with the new video. Bye. Hello. Okay. What is happening outside? And because pirates, everything is dependent on some form of